GM, GM. So Bitcoin's kind of interesting here. There's a big spike up in open interest as price is declining. Price down, open interest up. Funding flat, and we're actually almost ticking back towards the spot premium. So you look at that and you say, oh, that's good. That could be a sign of shorts opening. We're going to squeeze them. But the problem is price is in harmony to the downside, right? So price is going down. If open interest is rising, it doesn't matter. If price keeps going down, remember that open interest is a long and a short. And if Bitcoin then goes below this level, whoever's gone long in this might have to close unless you can get a nasty wick. I'm not a fan of seeing open interest rising in a bull market while it goes lower, because it tells me people are probably trying to defend positions, right? Get long, buy the dip, support the market, whatever they're trying to do. It's something that always gets my attention. So given that Bitcoin pumped on Monday up into a 70k level and has just shown zero, like absolutely no strength over there, I would be very, very, very concerned today about a big downwards wick. Now, it really depends. You know, these type of moves tend to finish with a bang. They tend to finish with some kind of final spike, and we don't have it yet. We did almost the exact same move over here, just to a smaller scale, where Bitcoin had that scam pump basically because Ethereum's ETF, and it wasn't really good for Bitcoin, but Bitcoin pumped up, and you can see there was zero demand. It was just a short squeeze, and it just drifted until we got that big spike, and it managed to hold. Like, you got some volatility coming in. There's nothing here yet. I would generally need to see some kind of spike that holds to get confident again, or for Bitcoin to just hold for longer time, right? If it holds for more time, that's when it starts to look better. It can either consolidate, right, and just hold and start to reclaim those key levels, or have a final wipeout and just flush out these longs and just fucking get rid of it, get it over and done with, and look here at like liquidations, maybe get a liquidation divergence on BTC, which we don't really have yet. Sort of a very small one, but I'd like to see price try to go lower, some licks but not as many, and that will give me a bit more confidence. Now when you look at the altcoin market as a whole, I want to look at some of the funding heat maps. Large caps still broadly neutral, which is good. Mid caps probably a few more starting to, a few of them showing to show a bit of positive funding. Small caps, bit more, but still mostly they're neutral today or even negative. So market seems pretty balanced. And yeah, like here's 1 week return. So this is out of all the market in the past week. What has the return been? So the majority of coins have just not moved in the past week. That's what this is, around 0%, or less than 0%. So they've either not moved or they've moved down significantly. But because not as many of them have moved below 5%, you can see there's basically a bunch of coins that are down between 0 and 5%. There's a few more that are down more than 5% and not many to the side. And similarly, there's a bunch of coins that are up, but there's fewer. There's 74 coins that are down or 0. There's 48 coins that are up or 0. And it's interesting, right? Because it's a week ago. It's now Tuesday. So it was over a week ago that Ethereum had the fake news, or not the fake news, sorry, the rumor. And that was when everything exploded. So this would account for that. And it's a good example of how dispersed this market is. And I don't know why people are waiting for an alt season. You might be waiting forever and never get it. And when I say alt season, I mean this old school mentality from previous cycles of, don't worry, at some point every single thing will go up. And I'm like, that hasn't happened at all, and you don't want it to happen. I'm pretty convinced that when you start to see everything go up, it's going to be for a couple of weeks at the very, very end, and then it's all done. It's just that final exit pump once, whoever, the smart money whales, insiders, once they see the signs of retail froth or they see the signs of exit liquidity there, they're going to just pump their old shitcoin bags and then it's all done. So the longer it stays like this, the better. I love the fact that 74 out of the 130 coins are down, right? And that's just from a trading perspective. So you have to be more selective, of course. You have to understand what moves the market. It's obviously an ETH-dominated market from narrative perspective right now. And that's fine. So, volumes across the market as well. Here's an interesting one. So I'll probably put this out to a 2 weeks time frame. You'll see a massive spike of volume around the day of the Ethereum news. And then it persisted, right? So we had pretty low volumes, massive spike of volume, and then it remained high and remained elevated right the way into the rest of the week and into the approval itself. And then it tailed off, but that was a weekend and a long weekend. So now you want to see how do volumes look this week? Because you want to really see the average volume rise. You want to see this week pick back up again because it should ignite real interest. And you should see more actual activity in the market. So Bitcoin definitely gives me, I don't have a good feeling about this, to be honest. And that's going to probably drag down some alts if it does. But when I say I don't have a good feeling about it, that's just an assumption. It's not something I would trade off. And you want to dig deeper into this because obviously, look at the biggest spike of open interest is in this candle. So as Bitcoin went straight down from 69.3 to 68.5, open interest increased. That doesn't make sense. That's not how you would expect it to. Now, obviously, it makes perfect sense. I know why that happens. But you would normally expect when Bitcoin moves down really fast, that open interest decreases because people get stopped out and then shorts close and take profit into it. So what it means is positions have opened, so longs and shorts. And so what that means is people are getting long into this as well. Everyone focuses on open interest rising as we go down. They're like, oh, this means it's all shorts. Well, it can't be all shorts. OI rising, new long, new short. So who's longing this? Is it smart people longing Bitcoin there? Or are the smart people shorting it? That's the only question. And my assumption in crypto is always that the smart people don't long things. The smart people don't short things. It's usually, the smart people don't long things. It's usually the smart people on the short side. And when you say smart, it doesn't mean that it's dumb to go long. It means that they're not directionally exposed. They're delta neutral. So it's usually a market maker. If you want to understand, I guess this is better to do here because I don't have any trade setups today. There's one long, one short, right? Majority of the time, it is a directional long and a market maker short. Market maker is not exposed. Retail is, I'll just call it retail. So this is your basic assumption in the market, crypto, in a bull market especially. So when you're looking at this open interest over here, and every time it moves up or down, if it moves up, it means there's somebody long, somebody short, right? The vast majority of the time, that is going to be a trader who has an opinion versus a market maker who does not. So, trader wants to go long because it's a Bitcoin bull market and they want to get the big breakout to 80K. Market maker goes short because they have to. It's their job to provide liquidity. Now, the market maker does not go short because they're bearish. They go short because they are the provider of liquidity. So you might say, well, why would they want to go short? They don't. But they also don't take a directional position. They'll be long somewhere else in some other form in order to offset it. And so they're delta neutral. They could be short on one exchange, they could be long on another, they could be short across perps on balance, they could be net short across perps, but then they could buy spot Bitcoin. They could be short on perps, they could buy calls on options, whatever. The goal of a market maker is to remain delta neutral. That matters because you can't squeeze somebody who's delta neutral. You can't squeeze a market maker who does their job correctly. So if you imagine that this build-up of 3,000 contracts on Binance, or on Bybit, sorry, which is equivalent to about $200 million. If the long side of this is retail buying the dip, and the short side is market makers who are delta neutral, there's only one side in danger there, and that's retail. Because you might say, well, but the market maker's short, so if it goes up, then the longs they have elsewhere offset it. So you can't squeeze them. If it goes down first, you can absolutely squeeze out and wreck a bunch of those retail longs before you go in whatever direction you're going. Again, I don't know if it is. CVD indicates that there is strong selling pressure on, and I'll go CVD spot along with it. CVD would indicate that there's strong selling pressure at the market on Bybit. That would indicate that market orders are pushing it down, and it seems to come with an increase of open interest. That would seem to tell you that aggressive shorts are pushing the market lower. But spot's also selling, so it's in harmony. And then look at this. You could easily have looked at this, right? Look at this increase of open interest as price goes down. You look at that and be, oh, shorts are piling in, squeeze them. But what happens when Bitcoin breaks a level? What happens here? Why did it keep going down? And then why, when it spiked down, why did open interest decline? Oh, I thought it was all shorts. It's not. It's a short and a long. And to me, it looks like, to be honest, longs are fighting the trend here. And I don't like that. So if you've got trades, setups, like I have with these, where are my charts? My Pepe and my Ondo and all that kind of stuff. These charts. So as you look at these, if Bitcoin is going to have another push lower or liquidation of some late longs, how are your other coins looking? Like Pepe to me looks good as long as it remains above the value area high. So if it keeps consolidating up here, it's still a breakout to me. If it falls back inside that, not good. Chainlink had a really nice pump yesterday after I mentioned it, and just after I got long, funny enough. One of those fortunate timing things. I think it just continues to grind higher. And Ondo, for me, is in need of a pullback into previous all-time highs. So I think it'll chop, and eventually pull back. So again, I'm not, overly concerned about BTC if it stays above these levels. But I'm not liking how it tried to go to 70, failed, and has pushed all the way down with no bounce, and open interest is rising. That's not a good setup. That's just not good. So the market needs to do something here to really convince me that this thing isn't just going to roll over, right? You just don't want to see these just candles drifting lower with no demand, like nothing stopped them. That's just straight up weak. So Bitcoin needs to, at least go sideways and form a range, form a base. Best case scenario, and I definitely wouldn't short Bitcoin here because I don't see any edge in that. It's obviously like way too late to short the move, right? If you're looking at the actual 70k to where we are now, it's way too late to short the day trade move. And so what are you fucking shorting for? Like, don't be dumb. When I say that I'm concerned, it's a big build-up of open interest that could all just get wiped on one big spike, and then that's it, done. Bottom's in, right? So it's not about how low Bitcoin goes after it. It's just about where are we at here, and this doesn't seem to have finished yet. And I think best case scenario would be to see it consolidate and chop, and then have a spike, and then continue to consolidate and just build a proper base there. I think that's your most bullish outcome, where it wicks down a bit lower, but it creates a higher low, and Bitcoin just continues to consolidate. So we'll see. Just be mindful of that today. GM.